H3000 with Running, and you are listening to The Takeover on your Wednesday night with Maz and Ollie and a special guest.
Yes, we have got Kelli K, Naturopath, here in the studio for this.
Wellness Wednesdays on The Takeover. Brought to you by station sponsor, Kelli K Naturopath. Book your free discovery call today to uncover better health and quality of life.
Kelli, so good to have you back in the studio after Easter. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. Thanks for having me back.
So good to have you back. And tonight we are talking about gut health.
Yes, very important.
Which is quite timely. I mean, last fortnight we were talking about Easter and avoiding some of those sugar cravings and things. And tonight we're talking about something that I guess is probably related in some way, the health of the body, the gut. I'm sure it's all kind of connected.
Absolutely. The gut health, your gut health in general is so important to your whole body health.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And as part of our gut health, one of the most important parts is what we call the microbiome, which people have probably heard that word. If they've done any sort of health research, it's probably popped up. And it just refers to the normal bacteria that actually live in all of our guts and that are essential for human health.
Okay.
So they provide us with, they make vitamins for us, they make neurotransmitters for us to support our mood, anti-inflammatory compounds, regulate our immune system, digestion, all of that.
Okay.
And so if we're wondering what the health benefits of microbiomes, how we get it in, what sort of benefits we could perhaps see within ourselves upon, introducing that to our immune system, give us some information about that.
Okay, so our microbiome is developed at birth. So when we're born, we automatically get the beginnings of it, I suppose, from our mother, and then it develops. The most significant thing that influences our microbiome and helps grow it is our diet. Okay. So the bacteria rely on us to feed it, and so I was going to say something silly then, like think of it like your pets. But
a Tamagotchi.
Yeah.
Or a Sims.
Yeah, so the fibres that we eat, through lots of plant foods, fruits, vegetables, grains, whole grains and legumes and things, will feed these microbiomes. Or feed this bacteria, and that's what keeps it healthy. Of course, if we're eating lots of processed foods, high sugar diet, lots of fatty foods, this will feed some of the more sinister bacteria in our gut. And that's when we can see those imbalances start to occur, and it can lead to conditions. And it's been linked to so many different conditions now that are really common for us in Australia.
So what are some of those symptoms that we could find if our microbiome isn't healthy? What could we be experiencing?
So gut symptoms are quite common, things like bloating, like a lot of bloating, diarrhea, constipation, but it's also things like if you've got allergies or autoimmune conditions, these are heavily linked to what's going on in your gut as well. So it's not always just gut symptoms, although that's quite common.
Yep.
It can be other conditions as well.
Okay. Because what you've just described sounds a lot like IBS, irritable bowel syndrome, which is something that I've had, and I'm trying to, stick to a low FODMAP diet and do all those things. But I also have type 1 diabetes, which is an autoimmune disease. So I'm like, these kind of, it's kind of, sounding like I could probably have a microbiome
imbalance.
Yeah.
And that's right. A lot of these conditions are linked with gut health issues as well. So a lot of autoimmune conditions, a lot of things like fibromyalgia, pain conditions, chronic fatigue syndrome, endometriosis, all of these conditions have had some link in the research that shows that there's lots of gut symptoms involved with those as well, and microbiome imbalances.
And a question about that, if someone's listening right now and, perhaps they're young and indestructible and they don't, feel any negative things. It's a bit like, eat your vegetables. But, when I eat Maccas, I don't notice any difference, What's someone who feels perfectly healthy, what is something that they would get from now? Let's say they started eating things that increase this gut health. What kind of health benefits would they notice? What can they do to increase the good bacteria? Along those lines, what can people do?
Okay, so the basic thing that you can do, as I said, is to really increase your plant foods. So legumes, there's some specific fruits and vegetables, things like apples and lentils, asparagus, onions and garlic. these foods feed that bacteria. Basically anything that makes you fart a lot, that's what's happening. The bacteria are feeding on that fibre, they're fermenting it, and then you get that gas build-up. So farting's very normal because so long as you don't, if no one wants to be around you, then that's a problem and you should come and see me. But, that's what's happening there. You're feeding that microbiome and causing them to thrive.
So is that a good thing?
That's a good thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because a lot of what you've just said are the things that you get told not to have if you do have a lot of those symptoms. So things like garlic and onion.
Exactly. So the other thing you need to be aware of, if you find that you react to a lot of those foods that I just mentioned, then we know that there's something going on in your gut that's not quite right. So it could be an overgrowth of certain bacteria. There could be infection, parasites. There could be the link with the nervous system. I won't go too much into it. It gets quite complex. But, if you find that you're reacting to those foods or foods that we call probiotic foods, like yogurts and sauerkraut and kombucha and those sorts of things, then could be an imbalance going on in the gut.
All right. When we come back, we're going to take a quick break. But when we do come back, we're going to be chatting a little bit more about the prebiotics and the probiotics and how to actually use those to help with that imbalance and to balance things out a little bit more in the gut for ultimate gut health. So don't go anywhere. You're here on The Takeover for Wellness Wednesdays with Kelli K, Naturopath, on Life FM with Ollie and Maz.
Danny Gocki with Make a Difference, and you are listening to The Takeover for your Wednesday night.
You sure are. We are joined by the amazing Kelli K, Naturopath, tonight for another Wellness Wednesdays. Kelli, so great to have you in the studio tonight.
Thank you.
And we are talking about gut health, the microbiome, which is such a fun word. Yeah. We're learning about what that is, and essentially it's kind of like your gut bacteria. Is that, in a nutshell, what you would say it is?
That's 100%. Yeah,
okay.
What it is.
Tick. I'm learning.
Yeah. Gut bacteria that is normal for you to carry around in your gut. There's like about 2 kilograms of bacteria just in your intestines alone, which is pretty amazing. I think.
Yeah, that's crazy. Okay, 'cause that's quite a bit. We were chatting a little bit off air. In fact, in that entire Danny Gocki song, we were just chatting about this because we are finding this so fascinating. So one of the questions that came up from you, Ollie, was can you actually measure the health of your gut microbiome health and that sort of thing, which we were saying you can to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. So we would mostly go by someone's symptoms. So if you are having issues with your gut, like I said before, bloating, diarrhea, pain, stomach pain, reacting to those foods that you mentioned, garlic, onion, or if you've got some of those conditions that have been linked to microbiome issues, then we know, okay, we need to take a closer look at the gut. And then I suppose that's where, you need to get kind of a professional perspective in to kind of assess clinically, all right, what might be going on, and look at look at your diet as well and see, is that causing an issue and how can we improve that as well.
Okay. And so we're talking now about pre and probiotics. So Kelli, what are they?
Okay, so the probiotics is the actual bacteria.
Yep.
And you'll see in health food stores, chemists, you can buy probiotics over the counter, or you can buy probiotic foods, so foods using the bacteria to make it, like yogurt and sourdough bread, those types of things.
And kombucha, those kinds of things.
Yeah. And so they're the actual bacteria. So if you take a probiotic, it will have, if you're taking it therapeutically, it will have its action in the gut for anywhere from 24 hours to a few weeks, and then you poo it out again. So where a prebiotic is the food that feeds the bacteria that's already in your gut.
So it's building it.
Yes, that's right. It's building it and it's changing the environment because we want a good environment where the bacteria can thrive, the healthy bacteria can thrive, and the bad bacteria is kept under control.
Right. Okay. So, because when you hear those ads on TV for Inner Health Plus, not to, or any of those brands. No affiliation at all. But they always say, if you've been taking an antibiotic, you should take a probiotic, or is it probiotic that you should take so that the good bacteria in your gut doesn't get damaged by the antibiotics. So what we're talking about is not only maintaining that good bacteria, but actually building on it as well, so that you've got a good level in the first place.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Creating the environment in the gut where the bacteria can thrive is really important long term.
I have a question that's just come to me now, and I hope it's okay.
Yeah.
Antibiotics, then, are they the opposite of probiotics?
Yes, they're killing off the bacteria.
Okay, so when you take an antibiotic for a bacterial infection,
yes,
you're obviously getting rid of the bacteria, but it can also
destroy the good bacteria in your gut.
So you should, after taking, you've had a sickness of some kind.
Yeah.
You should start eating certain foods to build it back up. What's the go there?
Yeah, so this is where your prebiotic foods, so the foods that are feeding your good bacteria, come in to play.
Right.
So, lots of fruits and vegetables, things like oats and barley and lentils, apples, kiwi fruit, so lots of those fibre foods. You can also take prebiotics as a supplement, which is essentially a fibre supplement. And you can also take probiotics. So the thing that you need to know about that, though, is when we're selecting a probiotic to use, it's really important that we get the strain right, because all the different strains have been researched. They have different strengths and weaknesses. So the strain that we might give for someone with IBS might be quite different to someone with allergies, for example, because we're looking for a different outcome. So it is, I would say, highly recommended that you get some advice around what's going to be best for you, so that you're not wasting your money and you find something that is effective for you.
Yeah, fantastic.
But definitely diet is number one.
Okay.
No sugar, or not no sugar, but like low added sugar and lots of plant foods.
Okay, yeah.
And is yogurt is a good one? Is that right?
Yogurt's good. Yeah, absolutely. If you can tolerate dairy, then yogurt's great.
Yeah, interesting. Because you hear about yogurt, but you have to pick the right yogurt. There's all these different yogurts.
Yeah.
All of them have got sugar in them and all that kind of thing.
Yeah.
So yogurt's still good. That's good to know.
It is. Yeah,
that's right. And it is tricky. Like, it gets really hard because I think we mentioned in the break about the marketing aspect. All the companies on it jump on the bandwagon and make their product look the best. So it's about finding one that suits your specific situation.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Of course, if we need further advice, we can see a naturopath in clinic, and there can be other options that you can go down with that path as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay. Sure. Plenty of food for thought, pardon the pun, but there's so much that we've unpacked tonight. Very, very interesting. In the next fortnight, Kelli, I'm not sure if we know what we're going to be chatting about. I think we're talking about sleep.
Yes, sleep.
Now, that is going to be interesting. Topic. Yes. I'm going to start listing my questions for that one from now, I think.
I need more sleep as it is, so I'm going to be listening.
Yeah. But also, if you've got any questions about sleep for next fortnight, let us know. And also, if you've got any questions for Kelli for tonight, let us know. 0413 90 1079. Kelli from Kelli K Naturopath, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you for having me.